Okay, so get this. Ready for a deep dive into something kind of wild. We're talking about swallowable gastric balloons for weight loss.
Yeah, you heard that right.
Swallow a balloon, lose weight?
It's like straight out of science fiction.
Seriously, I know what you're thinking.
But it's a real thing, and it's getting a lot of attention.
It is. It is.
This company, Allurion Technologies, was founded by some pretty serious folks, doctors at Harvard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're not messing around.
So they're aiming to change the game when it comes to weight loss, huh?
Yeah, they're all about this less invasive approach.
So no surgery.
No surgery, no endoscopy,
You just swallow a capsule
and boom, gastric balloon. Just like that.
in like 15 minutes.
That's the idea.
Okay, I'll be honest. I was a little skeptical when I first heard about this,
Oh,
swallowing a balloon. It just sounds kind of
it
crazy.
does, yeah.
But I'm curious, how does this thing actually work? Does it just fill up space in your stomach?
Okay, so think of it like this. You've got this soft, inflatable balloon in your stomach, taking up space, sending signals to your brain that you're full.
So you eat less.
Right, you eat less, you feel satisfied, and the weight starts to come off.
Okay, that makes sense.
But there's more to it than that.
Oh, really? Like what?
This isn't just about the balloon itself,
Okay.
Allurion.
Yeah.
They've developed a whole program around it.
A program.
Yeah, it's a whole holistic approach.
Okay.
They combine the balloon with these digital tools and personalized support.
So it's not like you just swallow this thing and hope for the best.
Right, exactly.
It's like a kickstart, right,
Yeah.
to a healthier lifestyle.
You got it. That's a great way to put it.
So they have like an app or something?
They do.
Hmm.
It works with a smart scale.
Fancy?
Gives you personalized guidance, tracks your progress.
That's cool.
But the thing is, the balloon is just temporary.
Oh, okay.
It's there to help you build those healthier habits.
While it's in place.
Exactly, so you can keep the weight off even after it's gone.
That makes sense, because otherwise it would be like, what's the point?
Right, the real goal is those long-term changes.
To your eating habits, your lifestyle, all that.
Exactly.
But I'm sure there's some risks involved with this whole balloon thing, right?
Well, yeah, you're right to be cautious.
Because you're putting a balloon in your stomach.
There are always risks with any medical procedure.
Of course.
Some people might experience, discomfort, nausea, even vomiting after the balloon is inserted.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah, and in rare cases, there can be more serious complications.
Like what?
If the balloon deflates or bursts too early,
That sounds scary.
it can be.
So it's definitely not for everyone.
Definitely not.
It's important to talk to your doctor first, Trevor.
Absolutely. See if that's a good fit for you.
Okay, so knowing all of this, how does this Allurion approach stack up against other weight loss options? We hear a lot about these new medications.
Right.
Are they more effective? Safer?
It's a good question, and it's a tough landscape out there,
It is, yeah.
You've got medications like Wegovy and Mounjaro.
I've heard of those.
They've been making headlines.
Yeah.
They can be really effective for some people,
Yeah.
but they often come with side effects.
Ah, right. That's the catch.
And they can be expensive.
That too.
And then there's the big question, what happens when you stop taking them?
Does the weight come back?
That's the worry.
So is Allurion trying to be like a middle ground then?
I think that's a good way to look at it.
For people who aren't into medication or surgery?
Right.
Kind of like the best of both worlds?
Maybe, but it gets even more interesting.
Oh, how so?
Allurion is actually studying combining their balloon with those weight loss drugs.
No way.
Yeah, they're looking at whether this combo approach could lead to even better results, longer-lasting results.
Wow, that's fascinating.
It's early days, though, but it's definitely something to watch.
So they're not just trying to compete, they're trying to innovate. Exactly.
Very cool.
Speaking of competition, though, how is Allurion doing as a company?
Yeah, that's a good question. I read that they went public through something called a SPAC merger.
I read that too, I have to admit. That whole thing sounds like financial wizardry to me.
It kind of is.
Can you break it down for us?
Sure. Basically, it's a faster way for a private company to go public.
Faster than the usual way.
Much faster.
Okay.
Imagine it like this. There's this taxi already on the road to Wall Street.
Okay.
Regular IPO, you gotta wait for your own ride. SPAC, you hop in that taxi and get there quicker.
Ah, so it's like a shortcut.
That's one way to look at it.
But shortcuts aren't always the smoothest.
Right, it can be a bumpier ride.
More volatile in terms of stock performance.
Exactly.
And it sounds like they've hit a few bumps lately, haven't they?
Yeah, unfortunately, they have been facing some challenges.
Like what?
Well, you've got the whole economic downturn.
Yeah, that's not helping anyone.
Not at all. Plus, there's increased competition.
From those new weight loss drugs.
Exactly.
Right. Right.
And to make matters worse, they had to temporarily suspend sales in France.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's been a bit of a roller coaster for them.
That's a lot to deal with.
It is.
Are they doing anything to course correct?
Oh, absolutely. They're not giving up. They're working hard to regain compliance with the New York Stock Exchange listing requirements.
So they're trying to stay on the big board?
Exactly.
And are they making progress?
They've been granted an extension to meet those requirements, which is a good sign.
Okay, that gives them some breathing room.
Right, and they're taking steps to reduce costs, boost their digital offerings. They're adapting, trying to find their footing.
So it's not all doom and gloom.
Not at all. There's a lot of potential there.
Okay, good.
They're seeing strong demand in some markets, like Japan and Australia, New Zealand.
Interesting.
So there are bright spots.
That's good to hear. So it sounds like they're fighting back.
They are.
Well, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the future. What's on the horizon for Allurion? Anything exciting in the works? One of the biggest things on the horizon is that planned study we talked about earlier.
Combining their balloon with the GLP-1 drugs,
That's the one.
like Wegovy and Mounjaro.
Yep. Some experts think this could be a game changer. They're saying it could become the gold standard of obesity care.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
It is.
So if you're out there exploring weight loss options,
This is definitely one to keep an eye on.
that sounds incredibly promising.
It does. Combining those two approaches, it could really change how we think about weight loss.
More comprehensive.
More sustainable, exactly.
But it's not just about this one study, right? What else is Allurion doing to stay ahead of the curve?
They're not slowing down.
Okay, good.
They were recently granted a new patent,
For what?
what they're calling a next-generation weight loss device.
Next generation.
Yeah, details are still under wraps, but it sounds like it's all about making the balloon even safer and more effective.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued.
They're always innovating.
So what could this next generation balloon be like? What could it entail?
Well, the patent focuses on improvements to the balloon's valve system.
Oh,
Remember we talked about those complications if the balloon deflates or bursts too early?
Yeah.
It seems like they're trying to minimize those risks,
Okay, so it's all about refining the technology.
making it even better. Yeah.
Making it safer. That makes sense.
Innovation is just about the device, though, right?
True. It's about expanding their reach.
Making it accessible to more people.
Exactly. So what are they doing on that front?
Well, they're making some really interesting moves there, too.
Oh, like what?
They just launched this program called Allurion Meds.
Allurion Meds.
Combines affordable weight loss medication with an AI-driven platform for support.
So they're not just about the balloon anymore.
They're about offering a broader solution.
It's like a whole ecosystem for weight loss.
That's a great way to put it.
So they're really thinking outside the box.
They are.
But one thing I'm curious about is their strategy for the U.S. market.
Right.
They're not available here yet, are they?
Not yet, but they're working on it.
So what's the plan?
They're running a large-scale clinical trial, the Audacity trial.
Audacity.
Yeah, it's a key step in getting FDA approval.
To bring the balloon to the U.S.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's something to watch for.
Definitely, in the coming months and years.
It sounds like they've got a lot going on.
They do.
Innovating, expanding their offerings, aiming for the U.S. market.
Trying to make a real impact.
But where do they fit in the overall weight loss landscape?
That's a big question.
It is. There are so many options out there these days.
I know, it can be overwhelming.
Surgery, medications, lifestyle changes, it's a lot.
It is, but I think Allurion is trying to position themselves as a sort of middle ground.
Between medication and surgery?
Exactly.
Less invasive than surgery, but still effective for weight loss.
That's the idea.
And don't forget, they see potential in combining their balloon with those GLP-1 medications.
Right. They believe that could be even more effective than either one alone.
So they're not just competing, they're looking to integrate.
That's a really smart strategy.
It is, but what about the long-term picture? How does Allurion stack up against those medications when it comes to lasting results?
That's the key question, right?
It is.
And it's something Allurion is very aware of.
Okay, so what are they saying about it?
They're really emphasizing the importance of behavioral change.
Because that's what makes the difference in the long run.
Exactly, no matter what weight loss method you choose.
So their digital tools and personalized support are those designed to help with that.
That's the goal, to help people develop those healthier habits that will stick.
So it's about empowering people to make lasting changes.
Absolutely, giving them the tools and support they need.
But at the end of the day, it's up to the individual, right?
It is. They have to commit to those changes.
That's true of any weight loss journey, I think.
It is. There's no magic bullet.
No, there isn't.
It takes work and dedication.
But it's worth it, right?
Absolutely. A healthier life is worth it.
Okay, so Allurion, they're innovative. They've got a unique approach. They're focused on support.
They are?
But they've also got these financial hurdles to overcome.
Yeah.
Can they really pull it off? Can they thrive in the long run?
It's a good question. They've got a lot going for them.
They do.
Innovative technology, growing market, clear vision.
But those financial headwinds are real.
They are.
So it's going to be a tough road ahead.
It will be.
But it sounds like they're up for the challenge.
I think so.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've talked about how the Allurion Balloon works, its pros and cons, its place in the world of weight loss.
A lot to digest.
It is, but what are the key takeaways here? What do we want our listeners to remember?
I think the key takeaway is that Allurion offers a really unique approach to weight loss.
Unique. How so?
It's not a magic bullet. It's not for everyone.
Right.
But for those looking for a less invasive option than surgery and who are ready to make those lifestyle changes.
It could be a really valuable tool.
Exactly.
So it's about finding what works best for you.
Absolutely. There's no one right answer.
But before we move on to the next part of our deep dive,
Okay.
what are some things listeners should consider if they're thinking about Allurion for themselves?
If I were in their shoes,
Yeah,
I do my research.
of course, always do your research.
Look at the clinical data, understand the risks and benefits,
Right.
and talk to a healthcare provider.
Someone who knows about the program.
Right, and it's important to be realistic about your expectations.
Yeah, don't expect miracles.
Exactly, and be prepared to commit to those lifestyle changes.
Because that's what ultimately makes the difference.
That's what it comes down to.
Solid advice, always good to be an informed consumer, especially when it comes to your health.
Absolutely.
But before we wrap up this part of our conversation, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about.
Okay, I'm listener.
We've talked a lot about the technology, the business side of Allurion. But what about the human side of this story? What are the experiences of people who have actually used the Allurion Balloon?
That's a great point.
What are their stories? What were their challenges? Their triumphs?
That's something to ponder.
It is, and that's something we'll be exploring as we continue our deep dive.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. It's going to be fascinating.
I think so too.
All right, well, stay tuned for the next part of our conversation.
We'll be right back. It's true, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's so caught up in the numbers.
The data, the business side.
But it's easy to forget that this is about real people.
It is.
Their lives, their health journeys.
Their stories can teach us so much,
Exactly.
more than any statistic or financial report.
It's about the human experience, right?
It is. It's one thing to talk about the science, the data,
Mm-hmm.
but it's another thing entirely to hear about people's struggles, their successes.
Their ups and downs, the whole journey.
Exactly.
And that's what makes this whole topic so fascinating to me.
Me too. It's not just about a device or a company. It's about people,
People trying to improve their health.
their lives.
Exactly.
So as we continue our deep dive,
Yeah.
let's keep that human element in mind,
Let's not lose sight of that.
because that's where the real insights
It's
are.
real inspiration.
Absolutely. Okay, so where were we?
We were talking about Allurion's approach.
Right. We talked about how the balloon works, how it compares to other options, but let's zoom out a bit.
Okay.
Look at the bigger picture.
The big picture. Okay, I like it.
So imagine you're standing on a mountaintop.
Okay, I'm there.
You're looking out at this vast landscape of weight loss solutions.
I can see it.
You've got surgery over there, medications over there, lifestyle changes over there,
Mm-hmm.
and right here in the middle is Allurion,
Interesting.
offering this less invasive, more personalized approach.
So they're not trying to replace those other options.
Right. They're not saying their way is the only way.
They're carving out their own space.
Exactly. Offering another pathway for people who are looking for something different.
Something that fits their needs.
Exactly.
I like that. It's about giving people more choices.
Empowering them to find what works best for them.
Because there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
There really isn't.
And that's what makes the weight loss landscape so exciting right now.
It does feel like there's a lot happening.
There is. There's so much innovation, so many new approaches.
It's like we're on the cusp of something big.
I think you're right.
But with all this excitement, it's important to remember that weight loss is a personal journey.
Absolutely.
It can be a challenging one.
It can be.
And there's no magic bullet.
Yep.
What works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly. Everyone's different.
So we need to approach this topic with sensitivity,
With empathy.
because everyone's journey is unique.
Well said.
Okay, so before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to touch on one more aspect of Allurion's story,
Okay. What's that?
their partnerships.
Their collaborations.
Right, they've been making some strategic moves in this area,
They have.
and I think it's worth exploring why.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So, for example, they recently announced a partnership with the World Obesity Federation.
The World Obesity Federation, that's a big one.
It is. They're a leading global organization dedicated to tackling the obesity epidemic.
So this partnership, it's a pretty big deal for Allurion.
It is. It signals that they're serious about this issue.
It also gives them access to a lot of resources.
A whole network of experts.
Exactly, which can help them further develop their program.
And expand their reach.
Absolutely. And they're not just partnering with organizations.
Right, they're also collaborating with individual healthcare professionals.
Doctors, nurses, dietitians.
Working closely with them to integrate the Allurion program into their practices.
Which is really smart for a couple of reasons.
Okay, like what?
First, it helps ensure that the balloon is being used safely and effectively.
By trained professionals?
Exactly. People who understand the program.
And second,
It helps raise awareness of the Allurion option.
among healthcare providers.
Right, so they can recommend it to their patients.
To patients who might benefit from it.
Exactly. It's about building that network of support.
Making the program more accessible.
That's the goal.
Okay, so we're running out of time for this part of our deep dive.
We are.
But before we move on, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay, shoot.
We've talked about the technology, the business strategy, the partnerships,
We've covered a lot.
but ultimately, the success of any weight loss solution depends on one thing:
What's that?
the individual's commitment.
Their willingness to change.
Exactly. The Allurion Balloon, it could be a powerful tool,
It can.
but it's not a magic solution.
No, it's not a quick fix.
It's about using that tool to kickstart a healthier lifestyle,
And then sticking with it.
committing to those changes for the long haul.
That's the key.
And that requires effort, it requires dedication,
It does.
but it's worth it. So, as we move on to the next part of our deep dive, let's keep that in mind.
Let's keep it real.
The power to achieve lasting weight loss lies within each individual.
It does. It starts with you.
It really does. It all comes down to personal responsibility.
Taking ownership of your health.
Exactly. But that doesn't mean we have to do it alone.
Right. We've talked about Allurion's focus on support.
Their guidance, the whole program.
And that's something to think about no matter what weight loss solution you're considering.
Absolutely, whether it's through Allurion or some other program.
Or even just finding a community, you know?
Yeah, finding your people.
Having that support system can make a huge difference.
It can. It really can.
It's like having a cheering section, you know?
I like that. A team of cheerleaders in your corner.
Exactly. Pushing you to keep going.
Because, let's be honest, weight loss can be really tough.
Oh, yeah. It's not easy.
It's not just about willpower. There's so much more to it.
There's so many factors involved.
Our biology, our environment, our emotions.
It's complex. It really is.
So it's important to be kind to ourselves.
And to each other.
Absolutely. This isn't about judgment or blame.
Yeah.
It's about understanding,
Supporting each other.
creating a positive environment.
Okay, so we've explored a lot about Allurion.
Their technology, their approach.
Their challenges.
But now, I want to talk about the future.
The future of weight loss.
What's next? Where are we headed?
Wow, that's a big question.
It is, but it's an important one.
It is. What do you think the future holds?
Well, we've seen incredible innovation in recent years.
We have new medications, new technologies.
And I think that pace is only going to accelerate.
So what can we expect in the next few years?
I think we'll see more personalized approaches.
Tailored to individual needs.
Exactly, moving away from that one-size-fits-all model.
Recognizing that everyone is different.
That's key.
And what else?
Technology is going to play a bigger role.
Even bigger than it does now.
Oh, yeah. AI-powered coaching, wearable devices.
Tracking our progress, giving us feedback.
But we have to be careful with technology, right?
We do. It's a tool, not a crutch.
We have to use it mindfully.
Not let it control us.
Balance is key, right?
Always.
I think we'll also see more attention paid to mental health.
Mental health in relation to weight loss.
Yeah, we're starting to understand how important it is.
How our emotional well-being affects our physical health.
It's all connected.
It is, and I think that's a good thing.
It is. Taking a more holistic approach.
Treating the whole person.
Okay, so the future of weight loss. It's looking pretty exciting.
I think so. Lots of potential.
New innovations, personalized solutions, focus on mental health.
It's a good time to be in this field.
It is, and we're just at the beginning, I think.
I think so too. There's so much more to come.
Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
We have. It's been a fascinating journey.
It has. We've explored a lot.
Learn a lot.
But what are the most important things we want our listeners to take away from all of this?
I think the key message is this. Weight loss is a journey.
Not a destination.
Exactly. It's about making changes you can stick with.
Sustainable changes, long-term changes.
That's how you achieve lasting results.
What else?
There's no single right answer, no magic solution.
It's about finding what works for you.
Your body, your lifestyle, your goals.
And don't be afraid to ask for help.
Right. Reach out to your doctor, a support group, your friends and family.
Having that support system can make all the difference.
It can. It really can.
Any final words of wisdom?
Be kind to yourself.
Oh, that's so important.
It is. Weight loss is challenging.
There will be setbacks.
There will be, but don't let them derail you.
Celebrate your successes. Learn from your mistakes.
Keep moving forward.
Well said. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of The Deep Dive.
It's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you.
It has. Thank you for sharing your insights.
My pleasure.
And a huge thank you to our listeners for joining us.
We appreciate you being here.
We hope you found this deep dive informative and inspiring.
And that you'll continue to explore the world of weight loss.
With curiosity and a commitment to your health.
Absolutely. Remember, you have the power to achieve your goals.
You do. It all starts with you. Thanks again for listening.
Until next time.